Hello once again, you, the viewer. You see, here recently, I've been having a blast seeing the reactions of people to this new style of YouTube video I've been experimenting with and overall trying out. And honestly, I feel as though my brain is being blasted by a 12 gauge as I spend 6+ hours in the editing chamber only to come out with a cloud of stink accompanied by a steamy mist of sweat. These videos did pretty decently. My last video, however, did worse than someone trying to create a communist party in America and running for presidency. That's not good. But regardless, I have been having a great time making these videos, whether they get hundreds of views or thousands of views. But anyways, aside from that, I have something to tell you. A few days ago, I sat there in a fugue state, staring into the void as it called to me to perform my deepest, darkest, intrusive thoughts. However, I was distracted by the extremely supportive GigaChad members of the Shu Gang as they whispered sweet nothings into my ear, telling me make a Patreon. And so I did. I now have a Patreon in which the Shu Gang can support me whenever they like, at any interval they want. None of the tiers are made to gatekeep content or anything like that, as I believe all my content should be available to everyone 24/7. However, it will afford you to having a specialized role in which, once my Discord server becomes too big, you will be able to enter into a specialized channel called the Meeting Room to be able to speak with me and some of my other moderators. Wow, isn't that fun? Anyways, don't feel inclined to buy. This is only specifically made to make it to where all money earned through there supports my YouTube and Twitch channel. That's it from our sponsor, me. Now, let's get right into the video. I think we can all agree that gambling is a really great way to spend your pastime. It enables you to always feel like you're on the verge of winning before you reach a mental break in your psyche and begin turning to other methods of stress relief. But it's that euphoric feeling of reaching your goal at the end of the shit-eating tunnel that the release feels greater than unloading an M1 Garand. You see, the equivalent of going to a casino and getting lost in a slot machine, borderlining between wanting to take your own life and envisioning your shining future as a billionaire for gamers, is loot boxes and gacha games. But we're going to be focusing on the latter. You see, there are two gacha games in particular that I feel as though has been absolutely killing it in the gacha space. Those two titles being my favorite Gunner game, Zenless Zone Zero, and my favorite combat gacha, Wuthering Waves. Though I suppose it would be disingenuous for me to say that I only like Zenless Zone Zero for its particular and specific assets, as the combat is very flashy and very pleasing to look at. There are a lot of people out there who unreasonably hate on this game, looking at it with disdain for some reason. You see, for some reason, some gacha gamers expect a gacha game to be so convoluted and advanced in its gameplay that you'd need to read several encyclopedia versions of the game in order to begin to understand the intricacies of how indubitably detailed the game truly is, only to be able to perform combos like you're tryharding in a Mortal Kombat tournament with a shotgun pressed against the back of your head, or needs to make them feel the euphoric feeling they get when they're high off cocaine and other hallucinogenic drugs in order to simply feel something. This is simply not the case. I hate seeing the sentence, the combat isn't engaging enough when it comes to Zenless Zone Zero. Let's not pretend that 90% of our gameplay in these games isn't just clicking your mouse button 350,000 times per play session. No, you don't need to figure out binary code in order to have fun in a free-to-play casual game. But regardless, Zenless Zone Zero has been a blast for me to play, and my favorite characters are so fun to play I sometimes forget I'm playing a simple gacha game, as the flashing lights and super fast-paced movements I see on the screen makes me go through this unique form of seizure-inducing orgasmic pleasure. And don't get me started on the character designs for some of my favorite characters. They all look very cool and attractive. Something about Zenless Zone Zero I also notice is they haven't released a character yet that the general consensus was skip this character or die. All of the characters released so far, from what I can tell, on my side of the internet at least, has been met with praise and worship. Releasing banger after banger is a major plus, but also a major L for the community, as they must begin to rack their brain on which characters they need to be pulling more until it gets to a point they enter into a psychogenic fugue state. But that's not all. From what I've heard from many people, the story is absolutely amazing. I cannot confirm this because when it comes to Zenless Zone Zero, I simply skip everything. Now, on to Wuthering Waves. As for Wuthering Waves and releasing banger characters, I can't say that I necessarily see all of them as peak per se, with only a handful actually making me excited, with others I just end up forgetting they even exist. Wuthering Waves has been proving itself time and time again that it can indeed improve consistently and reliably. Wuthering Waves improvements are quite fascinating when looked at from a broader perspective. The Wuthering Waves we have today is absolutely nothing like what we got on release in terms of quality and quantity, and it's only been about 8 months. Now, there are some people who look at Wuthering Waves' improvement and have this faulty mindset they keep themselves on as they put themselves into this mental purgatory, saying things like, oh, Wuthering Waves should have had all this stuff since the beginning. Why should we be praising them for adding things that should have already existed in the first place? Well, here's some food for thought. Number 1, we cannot change the past. You must not let your obsessive nature of avoiding living in the present consume your better judgment. Time marches on. And also, why don't you take the time slot you've specifically reserved on your day to complain about what Wuthering Waves should have already done to go on ahead and enjoy what Wuthering Waves is doing now? Isn't that such a great idea? Wuthering Waves has put every open world gacha to shame with the amount of quality of life updates and traversal systems within this open world. Its only flaw is that we can only fly in Renacita for now. I'm sure that the good old reliable team of Kuro Games will eventually be strong-armed into allowing us to fly everywhere in the map and eventually into the black hole in the sky. Aside from the beautiful landscapes, beautiful characters, and beautiful enemies, Wuthering Waves has also been defending their combat championship like Super Roman Reigns during his Universal title run. And on top of that, they're adding more mechanics to the combat. Will this begin to introduce power creep a little bit faster? Well, yes, unfortunately. Will this make certain teams become meta for certain things? Well, yes, but that's just common sense. Kuro Games has been doing their best to provide us with an engaging, immersive experience, and I quite honestly am looking forward to seeing what the future holds for this game. Wuthering Waves may not be exactly what I wanted, but it's still great in its own way. I'm also still waiting for a variant of Alpha to come out on Wuthering Waves already, and no to anyone who says Sanhua or Couchharo or Abby, I will personally come to your house and you will not like the sorts of things I will do to you. But wait, Ragashu, was that a threat in a court of law? No, it's a promise made in pact with a blood god. But anyways, jokes aside, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves has been the two gacha games that's been entertaining me more than any other gacha so far, with Arknight's Limbus Company and surprisingly Honkai Star Rail not too far behind. But let me know what you guys think. Which gachas do you believe is on top for you? Anyways, I once again thank you guys for watching, and of course, like always, I want you all to take care and peace.